Oh, please. Please stop making alien movies. What are you thinking, Ridley Scott? Seriously, honestly, what are you thinking? No, better question. Are you even thinking at all? This movie is not only disappointing, it's sad. Because it's taking something that Ridley Scott created with love, passion, and commitment, and he is now suffocating it under its own greatness. I have never seen a director go from making masterpieces to crap quite like this. I mean, say what you will about Spielberg's lesser good movies, at the very least they're still entertaining, at least to me. At this point, Ridley Scott is just an aesthetics director. He doesn't even seem to understand what he's making or why, nor does he seem to remember what makes an audience most invested in any given story. Characters. I mean, there are no characters in this movie, they're just—
Get on with it!
Yeah, okay, calm down. Okay, let's start off with a little context. Back in 2012, Ridley Scott made a little film called Prometheus, which was essentially a prequel to the first Alien film. Or at least that's what it was intended to be. See, halfway through shooting, Ridley Scott decided to change it from being a direct prequel to Alien and decided to make it more of a kind of spin-off film, where it focused more on the ancient astronauts theory with the xenomorphs and the people who apparently created them. Which in and of itself would have been an interesting idea if the movie had actually gone with that idea in the first place. See, because the film had a dramatic change of direction halfway through making it, the film felt very disjointed, like it didn't really know what direction it wanted to go because it kept bringing up these interesting questions but never providing any answers for them. Me personally, I still find Prometheus to be a somewhat interesting film, and I do still argue that it could still work as a spin-off film, but I do agree that it's not a great film by any stretch of the imagination. Nor is it really a film that I would honestly recommend to anyone who is either interested in science fiction or is very interested in getting started with the Aliens franchise. But even so, at the very least, Prometheus was the first step towards something that could become more interesting later on, and we were all waiting to see what that would be. Instead, we got this. This movie is so unbelievably disappointing and so incredibly bad that I honestly feel like I owe Alien vs. Predator an apology. Say what you will about how stupid that movie is, at the very least it was fun stupid. That made it cool. Now there are many things wrong with this movie, but for the sake of keeping this a semi-short review, let me just tell you the biggest problems that I personally had with it. Let me start by summarizing the film's story, and see if this sounds familiar to you. A spaceship piloted by blue-collar workers are on their way to do a specialized job. On the way to their destination, they pick up a scrambled signal from a nearby planet. They investigate said planet and discover something that creates the greatest nightmare they have ever known. There's also an android character who has not only been marooned on this planet for a few years, but is also very familiar with the creatures that they've encountered. And for reasons that have still yet to be explained, has mischievous intentions with them. Did you figure it out? It's the exact same plot of the first Alien movie. Yes, this movie tries to be a kind of soft reboot / remake of the original film, which does not work for two reasons. One, this movie is trying to give a backstory for the aliens, which, of course, makes them less interesting and thus less scary. There was literally no reason to give a backstory to the creatures because the mystery about where they came from is what made them so terrifying. Second, there was no possible way you could take this franchise back to its horror roots because since there's already been like 8 of these movies and everybody knows what a xenomorph is by now, there is no more mystery to them. So the chill factor, which they were originally very good at providing, is gone. Another major problem with this movie that made it unbearable to sit through was the fact that it literally had no characters. Oh, it has people in a spaceship who are doing stuff and are progressing the plot, but that's literally all they are. Walking, talking plot devices. Like, remember how Benedict Cumberbatch in Star Trek Into Darkness was literally not a character, but a walking plot device and piece of fan service? Imagine that being applied to the entire cast of this movie. Nobody in this movie gets any amount of development whatsoever, and because you don't know who any of these characters are, you don't care about any of them. It's especially annoying when you consider that prior to this film's release, the internet was flooding with these clips with scenes that would otherwise serve as perfectly good character development. There's one scene in particular they put out there, which was a Last Supper reference, where they're all having a party before they go into hypersleep, and it's just the characters having fun, talking to each other, expanding upon their characterization, and revealing to the audience who they are and why we're supposed to care about them. And for some reason, the movie doesn't open with that. But the biggest, most horrendous, most insulting offense this film does is its lousy, lousy script. This is a profound example of what's called writer's convenience. It's when the writers don't bother to put any effort into figuring out how to make the story flow well, so they just make up stuff on the fly in order to get things to go to where they want them to go. It literally feels like both writers just sat down and... Wait a minute. What? John Logan? The John Logan? The writer of Aviator and co-writer of Casino Royale partially wrote this? What the hell, man? Okay, I need to explain how unbelievably stupefying this is. Imagine William Shakespeare wrote Biker Boys. And all this might have been somewhat salvageable if the movie at least looked good, but it doesn't. It's soaking in that dull, desaturated color look that Ridley Scott has become obsessed with. The editing feels more random and incoherent than a Guy Ritchie movie, and it relies way too heavily on shaky cam to create that sense of intense immersion, which, of course, doesn't freaking work. And Sir Ridley Scott should know that. Guys, this is such an incredible disappointment that I can't understand what Fox was thinking when they greenlit this. I mean, at this point, if they really want to save the Alien franchise like Ridley Scott says he wanted to, they should make Neil Blomkamp's movie. I mean, look at this concept art. These are drawings that Neil Blomkamp has for his Alien movie concept, and it looks amazing. It looks like it would be an actual proper Alien sequel. Why won't they make this movie? Guys, do not bother with this. It is so frustrating and so disappointing both as a movie and as an Alien movie, especially as an Alien movie, that it will just frustrate you for its entire runtime. Highly, 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 highly do not recommend you see this. But the good news is, there is another movie out there that is absolutely worth your time and that you should absolutely see instead of this piece of crap.
The trigger is an extension of my fist.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The rifle is an extension of me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And I strike you down.
I know where you are now. Bang.
Tune in later on this week, and I will tell you all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm TheNorm, telling you when Hollywood gets things wrong and when they get things right. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again next time.